Hello you guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ayanda, and last week we had a fun little game in last week's video where I told you that you can win 100 Rand airtime if you can spot what was wrong in the video. And a few people got it, some tried to be smart. You guys, can you believe my friends watched the video and then proceeded to text me on WhatsApp to say, oh my god, I've seen what happened, you skipped number 9. Give me. I'm like, ma'am, I know I'm a fake rich auntie, but I'm ethical. You understand? So I didn't give them the airtime. The airtime will be going to Olerato. I almost forgot your name. Olerato, please text me on Facebook at Ayanda Yaya Mokwana, or on Instagram at ayanda.mokwana, or at what? On what? Okay, what's happening to my English? I don't like that. On Twitter at so like Ayanda. Anywhere, anytime, I'm gonna see it. Send me your phone number and your network service provider, and I'm gonna send you airtime. And congratulations. Before I get into the story, let me show you the books that I bought this month. Oh, they're so heavy. These are the books that I bought this month. The last 4 are recipe books, cookbooks. Yes, that's what they are. And how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These ones are a combinations of novels and biographies. I'm most excited for this one. I want to die, but I want to eat tteokbokki. I've always wanted it, but it's so expensive. It's 390. But I'm so excited to be reading these books. And I've also been reading these 2 books at the same time. I've stopped reading this one. I don't think I'm going to go back to it for a while. It's a beautiful book, but I feel like I'm not ready for the conversation she's having here. The book is Gathering Blossoms Under Fire, the Alice Walker Journals. I'm overwhelmed. She's beautiful, she's intelligent, her experiences are colorful, but there's no lie that you have to, especially as a black woman, as you read these. I feel like she was mirroring me. Is it mirroring? Like, I could see myself in her in a way that made me ashamed. Like, I could see her self-awareness, and it disappointed me that I'm not as self-aware as she is when she was my age, or even when she was younger. And it made me want to reflect a lot on my life and the decisions that I've made, and how I basically interpret things that I do and the things that happen to me. So I'm not ready for the conversations that this book is making me have within myself. So I'm going to postpone it, perhaps maybe take a social media break for a month and then just reflect. Yeah, no. Those that have been following me on social media know that I've been sharing it nonstop. And yeah, you've seen what I've been seeing. I don't know. I don't think I'm ready. Let me show you just a snippet of how much this book consumed me. Like, I just kept relating. I even put two bookmarkers, 1 and 2. On top of that, I feel like I'm highlighting the whole book because, oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, no. There's a lot to think about. So no, I won't be reading it anytime soon. I'll have to make time for it. And then I'm reading Dr. T. I love this book. I don't know what I was expecting, but I like her writing. It feels like I'm speaking to a friend and we're just being cheeky, but like the friend is intelligent and she knows so much about sex. You know, like there's always that one friend that knows more about sex than you do. And that's Dr. T for me. So I've been loving this book. You didn't come to this video for books. I'm pretty sure you didn't come here for books. So I'm gonna stop. Okay, I'm gonna injure myself. So this one time I'm in Gauteng, right? If you don't know, I don't live in Gauteng. I'm in Gauteng. And here's the thing about people in Gauteng, people that live in Gauteng. They're like saying, oh my God, when you're around, let me know, tell me when you're in Gauteng. And it's like, what makes you think I'm going to be in Gauteng? Why don't you ever think, well, when I'm around your town, I'm going to hit you up? It's like they are sure that they'll never be wherever you are, but they are sure that you'd be where they are, which would be Gauteng. Which is like kind of fair because it's Gauteng, but like, how self-centered. Anyway, so I'm in Gauteng, and this usually happens when I'm in Gauteng. When people see me post that I'm in Gauteng, they start sending texts, hey, what's happening? Why didn't you tell me you're around? And it's like, the fact that I'm posting means I'm telling you that I'm around. It's not like I can go around texting every single person that lives in Gauteng to let them know that I'm around. Like, that wouldn't make sense. But also, just because I'm posting doesn't mean I'm letting you know that I'm around. I'm just saying that I'm around. I'm not saying no that I'm around. Anyway, this guy, we'd been chatting on social media, not in a but it was like borderline flirtatious, but not straight up flirtatious. You guys, I feel like Mihlali right now, because did you hear that fly? This is me. I'm so ready to kill it, but it's not coming to my side and it's irritating me. Do you know that Mihlali video? I think it's... You guys, what's happening? Anyway, let's focus on the video. So, what happened is I'm in Gauteng. This guy texts me. He's like, hey, you're around. Why didn't you tell me you're around? I'm like, hey, man, I'm around. So we're always chatting. We're friendly with each other. You know. But I don't like him like that. But I'm also aware that he's a really attractive guy. You know, like when you don't like someone, but you know that they're hot. And I think Lena, maybe he didn't like me to that extent. But the fact that I was the person that I am, like he wanted to interact with me regardless. Which I didn't mind. And also, I didn't mind. So I tell him, no, I'm around. In fact, I'm leaving in a day or two. He's like, no, I'm going to be busy. Lena was busy because I was there with my friends. We're having a good time. I'm like, okay, Lena, I'm busy. But I can see you for breakfast or something. On the day that I leave, it's cool. Or sharp. Our stress. We're happy, man. Nothing is forced. Nothing. Even if I see him, it doesn't matter. Whether I see him or not, like life here goes on. So he texts me like a day before I leave. He's like, hey man, because here's the crazy thing. He had once asked me, Are, where are you from? I told him, because I'm not from Polokwane, but I live in Polokwane. I'm like, okay, I'm from here and here. And he's like, yo, I know that place. I'm like, really? Which is right, because he's from Northwest and lives in Gauteng. I'm like, how do you know that place? He's like, nah, I just know people from around there. I'm like, okay, cool. And then the day before, he's like, no, man, in fact, because let's just, and I'm going to take you home. I'm like, really? Who'd say no to a lift from Gauteng to Limpopo? I mean, like 3 hours, not in a taxi. I'm like, yes, sir. And then he was meant to come get me the morning off, right? In the morning, he texts me like, hey, cannot come. I am rushing somewhere. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm also not in a rush. I'm with my friends. I'm like, cool. I'm chilling. Can you tell that I'm not wearing pants? Those are my thick thighs. The day after, not the day after, like 3-4 hours later, now I'm starting to get worried because I was chilling. It was nice. I'm like, okay, the sun is setting. He should be letting me know that he's not coming. So I know that I'm staying over for another day or I make arrangements to leave. But I didn't have like any pressing matter to go home for. Like very late when the sun was already setting. Now he's no longer coming sharp. He texts me, he's like, hey, where are you? I'm like, dude, now? He's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I had to rush to a meeting in Northwest, because we're in Gauteng, I had to breads or whatever. I'm like, okay, cool, busy man, you know, you can't be mad, a man is busy. And also, this guy comes, I don't mind, I'm a bit annoyed, but he apologizes for it, and I'm like, okay, sure. He comes looking gorgeous as always. Hi, Bo, in a big car. Like big car, BMW big. I don't even know the model, but it was like a big car. I'm like, so that's who you are, because I'd never seen his car before. I'm like, okay, cool. We get in the car, we begin to drive to Limpopo. We're leaving Gauteng. Guess what he says to me? That's when I should have known something was wrong. He says to me, what is the direction out of Gauteng? I'm like, you're the driver. Why are you asking me for direction? How many times have you gone to Limpopo from Gauteng? And I'm like, no, do you not know the direction? I can always just GPS. He's like, nah, I'm kidding. I know it. I'm like, do you? Anyway, as we come, we're in Joburg, Rafita Pitor. As we approach Pretoria, he goes, you know, if we leave now, I'm going to have to, and if we leave now and I drive back, it's going to take me about, I'm going to arrive here at about 1 a.m. And that would be a bit late because I have an early day tomorrow. I'm like, okay. And then he goes, how about you stay over and I make arrangements tomorrow. I'm like, I'm not staying over at your place. He's like, no, silly. I can book you in. I'm like, no, it's fine. Don't book me in. I'll book myself in. Wawan. I get on my phone attempting to book it into a hotel. And he goes, no, come on. I know Pretoria better than you. I live here. But besides, I'm the one that's asking you to stay over, so you can't be booking for yourself. I'm like, you know what? You're a gentleman. I'll let you do it. I was probably not meaning to book it myself, but like, I just wanted you to offer, you know. I didn't say that, but I was glad that he was booking. I should have known. I should have known. After we drive into Pretoria now. It's around 6 p.m., 7 p.m. and it was winter, so it's dark. And then I'm like, I'm not even minding the driving around. He's just going around in circles. Well, stops at this other gate, questionable gate. Like, you see those B&Bs that look like, as a black person, if you walk in, you may not come out. Yeah. He goes, rings the bell, and then I think they tell him that there's no room. He comes back. He's not even explaining all these things to me. He comes back, we leave. He goes to another place. Now it's starting to annoy me because, like, I thought we were going to a hotel. Why Rokokota? Like, hoteling a like, I'm not understanding what's going on. He hoots at this other gate. Get stop nonsense. I'm like, you know what? I'm already uncomfortable by this whole thing. Now stop nonsense. Like, I don't like that. But he hoots. Nobody answers. He leaves. I tell him, yo, dude, it's almost 9 p.m. We've been driving around. I'm starving. He's like, what do you feel like having? I'm like, I want meat. I want some steak. He says, okay, cool. He says, okay, cool. We go to, I don't know Pretoria, but we go to what seems like a mall, but the restaurant is downstairs. Not downstairs. Yeah, downstairs, like in the underground parking. Like, as soon as you get what I mean. As we walk in, we go into the elevator, we find the restaurant. It's beautiful restaurant. Looks, I don't know, somewhat European. The lights, the music, like, I'm like, you know. As we walk towards the restaurant, he says, my wallet, where's my wallet? I'm like, dude, are you really pulling that wallet trick on me? He's like, I swear I had it. I'm like, dude, I've heard this story many times before. Like, well, not towards me, but like, I know that men lie about losing their wallets. We go back to the car because he apparently doesn't have his wallet. We leave. He's like, no, we'll find another spot. Do you know where he took me? It was the first time I went there. He took me to Ayep. In fact, when we enter, he even does that whole thing like he's a tour guide. Have you been here before? This is the famous Ayep. I'm like, no, I haven't been here before, but like, it's not like I want to come. Am I supposed to feel honored that I'm here? And like, when I walked in, it's dirty. Some chairs are broken. I'm like, okay, this is the famous Ayep. Wow, nice. And then I sit down. But like, also, remember, I'm a village girl, you know, there's always that thing within you that says, okay, at least it's better than my village. You know, but it's fine. We sit down and the lady comes to take off our orders. And I'm like, do you have steak? She's like, yeah, sure. I get a steak and vegetables. And then I'm like, what are you going to have? He goes, well, I can't eat because I have to go home. I'm like, okay, one, I'm glad you're going home. That was a relief. But two, you can't eat because you're going home. How's that making sense? I didn't ask him that, but it's me in my head, in my medulla oblongata. I'm like, ish, the flies are irritating me. I'm like, okay, we don't eat when we go home. Sharp. Let me tell you, I was eating while this man was staring at me. It was so uncomfortable. And I think I had a gin. I had a shot of gin or whatever. And then guys, happy it's red flag after red flag. Before we leave, the lady comes to Repaten. He's like, no, don't worry, I've got it. Or calculator, tell it. And then he goes, yeah, do you have 50 rand? Okay, I don't even know why it was not clicking to me, or this person is very dramatic. But I'm like, yeah, sure. I opened my purse. I paid probably for half of my meal. Or I probably paid for my drink. How much is a shot at IAPF? Anyway, we leave. Wawan. Now it's late. Get 9 p.m. ish. Wawan. So I was reading a book in the car, and we stopped at another accommodation thingy. Looks like a guest house, looks like a B&B sort of vibes. Anyway, I read a book in the book. Oh, he's like, I'm gonna check something, I'm coming back. I read a book and I fell asleep. You know when you take a nap and you wake up, before you even check the time, you just know you had a long nap. You're like, that feels like 4 hours. Hey, this man. I wake up, he's still not in the car. I'm like, this feels like a long sleep. Like, I could tell I'd been sleeping for a while. And then he comes back to the car. I'm like, oh my God, how long have I been sleeping? He goes, not long. But my body says, no, you've been sleeping for long. How? He's like, yeah, it's fine. You can get your stuff. We're going in. I thought you're going home. He's like, yeah, I'm just helping you carry them. Okay, we get into the room. It's shabby as shit. It's so shabby. But I'm like, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. I've seen better, it's fine, but you know, I'm not trying to be dramatic or anything. We get into the room. As soon as we enter, the people at reception knock. He goes to the door, they whisper at the door. I'm like, this is odd, but I'm also like, nothing is linking to me. Imagine, smart girl like me. This is why, oh my God, men are dangerous people. So, fine. They whisper, he steps out. Cool, he comes back, he's like, I have to go to the garage to withdraw money because they say the proof of payment is not reflecting there, probably because it's a Sunday. I'm like, oh, okay, go ahead. He's like, yeah, if I find you sleeping, it's fine, Kitlano. I'll just give them the money and then I'll leave. Get sharp. How? Gone. That was the last I've seen him, like, in my life. To this day, that was the last time I saw. Yo, I sleep now, pretty girl. I'm like, I need my beauty sleep. How? As I'm trying to get my beauty sleep, they're knocking. I open, I'm like, irritated. I'm like, what is this? And they're like, where's your man? I'm like, well, he's not my man, but like, why? But he ran away without paying. Kirawa, he didn't run away. He went to the garage. They're like, he's been at the garage for 3 hours, ma'am. Who goes to a garage just 2 minutes away for 3 hours? I'm like, man. What do you mean? But he gave us a fake proof of payment, by the way. Yo, that's when it's clicking now. I'm like, hey man, this man. What if Ibila, when he said he went to Brett's, he was going to borrow a BMW? Like, he went to his friend when he was begging the whole day for the BMW. But that's besides the point. I tell him, look, money, I'm sure he's going to come back. I'm so bored by the whole situation. Like, I feel like it's such a trivial conversation to have. And I know I shouldn't say that because, well, the room should be paid for, but I was like, I'm sure he'll come back. I'll see you tomorrow. And I closed the door. They knock again. I'm like, ma'am, I'm trying to sleep. They're like, well, you can't sleep in the room because it's not paid for. Now I'm irritated. I'm like, okay, fine. I close the door. I'm like, let me think. I'm like, should I call my father? I can't call my father. What would I say I'd be doing in Pretoria at that time of the night? I call my friend. I'm like, oh, I sent my friend a location who lives in Pretoria. I'm like, dude, I don't know where I am. Tell me where I am. He's like, no, you're not far from Mendane. I'm like, no, I'm going to have to move here. Tell me the nearest hotels that I can go to. Or if you're not far, I can come to your house. In fact, she offered that I come to her house. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll keep you in mind. But you're a bit far. She's like a bit far from where I was. She's like, yeah, 40 minutes is not bad. Yeah, I'm like, considering the fact that I'm homeless, 40 minutes is not bad, but like, I'm not trying to travel. Like, I'm so tired because I'd had a very busy couple of days with my friends. Like, the whole thing was not clicking to me that, one, I'm in a room that's not paid for, and two, that I got ditched by a schematist, and three, that I'd probably have to leave or pay for the room. So I asked the lady, I opt to pay for the room. I asked for the lady, girl, how much is the room? She tells me the price, it's lower than I expected, which pisses me off even the more. And then I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna pay for it. That amount. I'm like, no way, ma'am, I'll call him. I call him, his phone is off. Girl, we'll talk tomorrow. I sleep. In the morning, I'm hungry. Remember, the steak at IAPF wasn't even a steak. Oh my goodness, the food was dry, it was horrible. Everything sucked. So I didn't even eat the food. And it was uncomfortable to eat in front of him. So I wake up hungry. I'm like, yo, I shower. I forgot or I'm in debt in that place. I wake up, I dress up. I don't even care what the man has not come back. I stroll to the kitchen, to the restaurant. Oh, in fact, before then, they came to see if I'd run away. And then, so I'm like, they knock in the morning. I'm like, yeah, I'm around, I'm showering, da da da. What time is breakfast? The lady keeps quiet. I'm in the shower. I'm like, what time is breakfast, ma'am? And then I peep out. She's like dumbfounded. She's like, she's not even sure if she should tell me what time breakfast is because I owe the place. I'm like, oh, she's like, oh yeah, it has begun. It ends at 10. I'm like, oh, thank God, I'm starving. Like I could see the walk when she was walking out, where she's like, this girl is shameless. And when I go out now, the whole establishment, including the man that sweeps and takes care of the garden, has heard of my story. The man greets me, asks me where I'm from. I tell him, and then he starts, Wanaga, this is not the life for you. I'm like, okay, what are we talking about? Well, I'm not saying that to him. Like, I'm thinking in my head, okay, where's this conversation going? He's like, the fast life, the men with money, the hotels. You are very young. And you are very beautiful. You are very beautiful for this sort of a life. I don't want you to give yourself to men in the first life. I'm like, okay. I guess. Thanks. But I noticed Shem, he meant well. And he asked me for my surname. And I tell him, he's like, I know your people. Are you from 1, 2, 3? I'm like, yeah. And then we make some small talk. And then Shem, he sympathized with me. But I didn't understand why. Because in the position that I was in, I was not desperate, ne? And I was in a position to pay for the room myself. I was also in a position to get help from my friends if I was like in danger. But I see how it may have looked from the outside, because it looked like the man just dumped, well, he did, dumped me there, and now I have no means of getting home. All right? I get into the kitchen, it's awkward. But I'm like, I'm gonna pay anyway. And then I eat, the food is horrible. I'm like, these people don't want me to pay them. So I sit there. I'm like, really? He hasn't come back. I call him, he hasn't come back. I mean, his phone is still off. And then I think I asked, because I don't eat milk, I don't eat bacon, I don't eat eggs, and the breakfast in most places is typically that. I'm like, could you please toast the bread for me, because it was a guest house time. You know, the food is brought out as it is. And then they toast the bread for me. I could see I'm getting judged, but I'm like, I'm so hungry for this. I've also just had an eventful night. Okay, cut me some slack. I need some bread. And they toasted the bread, and I had it with butter, with juice, I think. And then I was like, I think I'm going to leave. Can you guys hear the flies? I want to kill them. So I'm like, I think I'm gonna need to leave. So I asked the lady because now they changed the receptionist people. I'm like, what happens when I need to leave? Because I didn't want them to call the police over that small money. And then I step outside. I tell them, I now resort of, no, I'm just gonna be a damsel in distress. I go to them and I'm like, Malome, jwale nna ke ska ya gae, jwale kwa ya gae kang di taxi, nah, I don't know how them. The man says, my child, this is why I'm telling you, I'm warning you against this life. You know, now I have to play the part. I'm warning you against this life because these men are not good people. You're correct, Malum. I'm not crying, but like I'm cracking my voice. You're correct, Malum. And now I live far. It takes at least 3 hours to get home from here, and I still have to go to Marabastad. Shame. The man pitied me, and then he said, "No, you can leave. You don't have to pay." As I'm about to leave, they're like, "Okay, whoa, Aragani, you cannot pay, but we want the remote for the gate." I'm like, "What the remote now? I don't even know." The gate opens with the remote. They're like, your person left with the remote gate. At least pay 250 for that. They were so pissed. I was like, guys, I don't even have 250. If I give you 250 now, I will not be able to arrive home. Do you want me to be homeless here in Gauteng? Because I can be home. Well, I didn't say that, but I was like, I don't have 250. But hey, says, I'm not 250. You should have seen her. Like, I looked like someone that had 250. And I did, but like, paying for it, like, I felt like, I was like, no, I'd rather give you his number. I gave them his number. They tried to call him. He was off. And then my friend's boyfriend came to collect me. And he took me to Marabastad. Then I went home. when I think when I was like 70 kilometers into my journey, he sends a text, "Hey, I'm sorry, my daughter fell sick." I'm like, wow, what a convenient daughter. And I said that as a daddy's girl, I was like, your daughter, very convenient. I didn't even reply to it. And then he sent mine. I think he sent me 1,000. I'm like, chief, 1,000 eh? Ngabo pathetic room. Or yona when you're sending it to me. But I took it, but like, yona. And I never spoke to him again. And then he started sending me money, apologizing. And I was like, we never spoke again. I never saw him since then. This is why, generally, I like to tell people, don't ever go to see people or go to see men without a plan. Like, no money, no whatever. I wasn't stranded, but I realized then how desperate or how scary the experience would have been had I not had money at all. Because I could have paid for that place and then still left and went to my own thing, and nothing would have happened. I would have been fine. But like the fact that like that experience taught, and it happened like a couple of years ago, it taught me a lot about men and how I'm so hungry. Yeah, but yes, that's what happened. And thank you guys for watching. Uratile, don't forget to text me for your airtime. Guys, we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. Never thought it would happen, but it's happening. It took long, and it seems like it's gonna take even longer, but yeah, thank you so much for subscribing and for watching, and I'll see you next week. Ta-da.